Greetings. Welcome to Teslafaninsight at the beach in Hallandale, Florida. This is Greg for Teslafaninsight. Today's focus is on Q1 numbers for Tesla, and we're trying to take in as much as the view of possible while we're in the whole quarantine process. Now, I want to thank our Patreon supporters as well as our subscribers. If you enjoy this show, please take time to like and subscribe. So today's show emanates from the fact that yesterday we got an email from one of our supporters, and he wanted to know what Q1 numbers for Tesla were going to be, every number they have, and wanted to have sort of backup data that we use to get those numbers. And I was impressed by the question, but there's a bunch of thoughts that came up from it. The first thought that came up is, frankly, the only person that actually has all those numbers accurately is the CFO and the people who actually run the company. And if any of those numbers get out early, through anyone, those people get to go to jail. So I want to thank you for the option of going to jail, and I think I'll pass on that one, but I do appreciate your attempting to offer me that alternative. Now, a lot of what we do on this show is we sort of deduce what's going on, why, how does it work, et cetera, et cetera. And one of the things that we think is pretty obvious is if you put 10,000 a week on what's been coming out of the Fremont plant, and you look at the fact that you basically have from January 1st till now at 10,000 vehicles a week up until the 23rd, which was yesterday, this kind of gives us a general number of what we can expect production-wise from Tesla. So the addition you have to add to that is pretty much 8 weeks of 3,000 units per week being produced by the China factory as another variable. So I wanted to generally point out that those are the numbers that we're going to be working off of as we come to a general estimate of what the number might be for the quarter. And as we pull all those numbers together, we'll let you know. The interesting thing about the situation is that this show may be another round of should I stay or should I go? So I say that because we actually did a show a few weeks ago when Tesla's stock price was up but moving wildly and possibly down, and we made the comment, should I stay or should I go, from the famous song. And so this show kind of enters that realm because of how unclear things are right now in terms of what's really going on with Tesla. So I say that because the big news, as you know, last week was that Tesla had to shut down the Fremont factory. Not good news. In addition, it was announced that there's a 2-week hiatus being taken by Giga One in terms of Panasonic shutting down the cell production side of the factory for 2 weeks. Obviously not good news. So where we are right now is we're in an interesting position because what's kind of going on is that you have production shut down. You have a large number of vehicles that are unsold in inventory, likely driven not by the fact that there weren't orders for them, but because a lot of the people who've ordered those vehicles have unknown income. Either they've lost their jobs or potentially lose their jobs in this situation, and they're not really buying. So the question mark is, like, what's going on here? And because of all these questions, I actually ended up buying some puts because I really expected Tesla to be down in the 350s right now in terms of price. And instead, not only is the stock price not in the 350s, it's up $30 pre-market today. And based on how high it is, it could easily make 500, I think, either it's going to finish the day above 450 in the 460 range, or it's going to be closing in on $500 a share. Now the question that pops up is, should I stay or should I go? There are a lot of people that have to make a decision on, well, what do I do with my stock, given that I've got some gains still right now? Should I hold on to it? Should I sell it? Should I buy some puts or insurance on the downside to actually make sure that I don't lose a lot of the gains that I've enjoyed on the stock already? All of which are good questions, all of which are great options. So on the should I stay side of the house, the answer is that we all know that Tesla's doing a great job. They're the best of breed, they're doing well. And therefore, those who've stuck around with the company have been rewarded for patience with some very high stock prices. We also have the phenomenon of the fact that prior to this downdraft, with the order book that Tesla has, everything was really looking great. Hence, there are a large number of entities that either upgraded Tesla or have it as a buy anywhere from $500 to $700 a share. So that's another, hey, should I stay analytical point? Another item that comes up is that there's China. Tesla has the capability to increase production out of China as a way to fill the production gap that might be created by Fremont. And given that Germany isn't scheduled to come on board for another year, China, if in fact the US stayed down for a while, we think that it's possible that China could put up a whole new factory. And they have a couple of things that are going up now that are huge, that allows them to successfully just do all their production from China and not even mess around with the United States, but meet all their goals for production for the year from that facility. So we're now in an interesting position because there's this, wow, how and why is this possible? Et cetera. So at any rate, stocks up nicely. The number of days that the stock up call for it to be in a stronger position than anyone expected, including myself. So where we're at right now is on the stay side, there's a lot of sort of small and large things that are coming together to say that we're in a very cool and interesting position. The should I go plan is, what if the virus gets really bad and Fremont stays shut down for an extended period of time? Until the China facilities come online, that's kind of rough, both, in terms of what's going on in the United States, as well as what's going on in Europe. And if all those places stay shut down, it's kind of hard to sell cars when you're not allowed out of the house unless you're going to the grocery store. But we do believe, based on what China has been able to accomplish, that, instead of it being a 6 or 8 month situation, we're probably in a 2 or 3 month shutdown situation that allows the virus to sort of establish, move out, and then we move on with society. So that's actually kind of good news to hear China's gotten progress, and we expect that the Western economies will be able to follow through on that. So therefore it gives us a time frame for what to expect down to be, and therefore sort of when we might start getting back to normal. This actually doesn't answer the question though of what do you do with all those unemployed people driven by what occurred, and what do you do with all the losses from the businesses and all the different kinds of shutdowns? And I don't have an answer to that, but those questions do lurk on the deck. So where we're sort of headed to this is that we've kind of got the should we stay or should we go plan going. And so the biggest go plan is how and why the facility was shut down as part of the go plan. The fact we don't know how long that's going to last, go plan. How many vehicles are actually being produced by the China facilities, part of the go plan, because They did have a shutdown period that slowed their production. Kind of on this stay is that they went to 2 shifts rather than 1. And on this stay plan, we think, is why the stock price is actually up today, which is in general the fact that with a rising stock price, either there are some people that are very crazy that are buying the stock right now, or there's some folks that know information that nobody else does that facilitates their ability to buy the stock now while others can't. And we think the answer to that is likely that there's some really good numbers that are going on in China and sales that are going on in China that everybody else doesn't have a grip of, but the funds or individuals who do have a grip are confident enough to be increasing their holdings. So, this is an interesting, should I stay or should I go situation. The unknown information that we have currently is suggesting that going right now might be a bad idea, only because we're starting to see a recovery that's driven by data we can't see yet, but there's some logic to how and why it's occurring. So the answer is we don't have the total crystal ball of what's going on, but we're glad to see the stock up. We're glad to see those of you who own the shares, getting back to a nice number, and we're hopeful that this stays in position. But based on publicly available data, it all doesn't make sense, but we look forward to getting more information from which to work heading into the future. So that's our show for today. We wanted to also remind you of our health tips. Don't forget to don't eat within 4 hours of going to bed, at least 2 to let the food digest. We also wanted to encourage you to try a 5-2 or one of the other diets. We also wanted to encourage you to try to do 25 leg lifts a day as a way to strengthen the muscles in and around the knees to reduce the chance of knee issues and operations needed. We also wanted to encourage you to do at least a 35 FPF, 30 or greater SPF would be a good idea. And while in the house, you might want to consider playing an instrument or something of that sort to keep the brain muscles working. This is Greg for Teslafaninsight. Have a great day and bye for now. Tschüss, macht's gut, au revoir, la hitraot, hoda hafez, zdravstvuyte, do widzenia, hedge do. And in Jamaica we say, enough respect, walk woodman. Have a great day.